Can Spotify make me run faster? I'm gonna run to each one of Spotify's running playlists. I'm actually feeling great. I am absolutely dying. It's not exercise if you don't feel pain. I'm not at my A game. I actually did set my PR. I'm fed up. I'm feeling great. Oh my God. This changes everything. Can Spotify make me run faster? I recently started running again, and like most runners, I listen to music while I run. And I listen to music on Spotify. Now, Spotify has a lot of auto-generated playlists. You got the indie mix, you got the driving mix, you got the goblin core mix, you got the yearning mix, you got the hopeless romantic indie mix, you have the Delulu mix, you have the black cat mix, you have the battle royale mix, you have the sticky mix, you have the 180 BPM mix, you have the creamy mix, you have the bed rotty mix, you have the late night mix, you have the yacht mix, you got the catchy mix, the intimate mix, the freaky mix, the standing on business mix. But I noticed that Spotify has not just one, but multiple mixes specifically designed for running. You have the running mix, you have the hype running mix, the running summer mix, the pump up running mix, the fun running mix, and the running EDM mix. So I thought it would be fun to test these out and see how effective they actually are as running playlists. Maybe the Spotify algorithm is all knowing and it knows what makes the perfect music to run to. Or maybe it's just a computer throwing in generic workout music. I'm here to find out. So for this experiment, I'm gonna go on 8 runs. I'm gonna start with my own personal playlist. Then I'm gonna run to each one of the Spotify mixes. After each run, I'm gonna review the playlist based on how much I enjoyed it, how much I enjoyed the music on it, and how I felt while running to that music. Then I'm gonna look at my stats and see how fast I ran that day. We'll close with a second control run where I listen to my personal playlist again, and then we will compare all the numbers and see if Spotify's running playlist helps me run faster. All right, run number 1 is complete, and I'm pretty tired. I'm very sweaty. This is about to be a very sweaty video. I hope you're into that. So since this was the control, I listened to my own music, what I would typically listen to when I run. I spent a majority of it listening to just my general songs of the year playlist. I put that on shuffle. Now, since the Spotify shuffle has a recency bias, I heard quite a few of the new country Post Malone songs that I had put aside. I also heard Pink Skies, Zach Bryan, Saturday Mornings, Corday, Lil Wayne, Laced Up, Subi Club, and Is It a Crime, Montel Fish, and Heaven by Tori Moi, which those 2 songs probably best represent what I typically listen to when I exercise. I don't like a lot of what people usually consider workout music. If it's just like in your face, rah, 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 like really fast all the time, I have a hard time like getting in the zone. I prefer something introspective, but still has a good beat to it. Those 2 songs are great examples of that. And that's what I'm interested to see with those Spotify playlists, is how their idea of running music compares to what I like to listen to when I run. And finally, in a moment that made my life feel like a movie soundtrack, the last song that came on, Texas Blue, Quedeca, Kevin Abstract, one of my favorite songs of the year. Beautiful song, and it came on right as I was finishing the run. The sun was peeking through the trees, and it literally ended like right when I stopped my run. So it was timed perfectly. It was like the director of my life selected this song for this scene in my life. My life's a movie. That's gonna be hard for these Spotify playlists to beat. So the playlist was great for me. I had a great time running, listening to all these songs, and it made the difficulty of the running a little more bearable, but let's see how the run actually went. So for these runs, what I typically do is I'll start up here and I'll run typically for like a little over 2 miles, I think. But yeah, once I've done that, my point B is like this downtown area that I typically walk around for a little to cool off, and then I do a second run going from point B back to point A. And for the past 4 weeks, as I've been getting back into this, I've kind of taken a break and walked like about a mile in and then picked back up running. But today I decided to like power through, challenge myself to run the full 2 miles without walking. So pulling up Strava, my first control run was a distance of 2.19 miles. a pace of 7:43, and a time of 16 minutes and 57 seconds, which I think is pretty good. I mean, this is my first time tracking my running at all. The distance is a little more than what I thought it was, so that's cool. And then my second run on the way back was a distance of 2.2 miles, pace of 8.28, and a time of 18 minutes and 42 seconds. So honestly, I feel like that's pretty good. I did have to take a short walking break on the way back, but it only seemed to add like 2 minutes to my time, so I think that's pretty good. We'll see how it improves. Again, I've never tracked my stats before, and I could instantly tell I am about to get way too into this. I'm about to become one of those people. Because the second I look at numbers, I know I'm gonna wanna try to beat these. So that's the control run. Even though I really pushed myself, it was really tired. The weather was nice, the scenery was beautiful, but the music was definitely the main thing that led to this run being a good experience. So it'll be interesting to see how the Spotify music changes that. Alright, run number 2. This one was definitely harder than the last one. So this is the playlist it gave me, and right off the bat, I start with Life by Jamie XX, which I like this song a lot. I started off immediately in a good mood. I was going pretty fast, vibing along, but about 3/4 through the song, I start to notice I'm getting really tired, which is bad news because I just started this run. And I realized that this song is a lot quicker pace than what I'm used to listening to. And so I was running a little faster than I probably should have been. Like, I was using all my energy up, like right here in the beginning. And I instantly was like, oh no. If I keep this up, I'm going to crash out. So I consciously had to think about slowing down and going at a pace I knew I could sustain for the long run, which was hard to do because it felt like I was actively moving against how the song wanted me to move. And this carried on with this Marshmello track right after. Devil Is a Lie, Tommy Richmond. I like that song a lot. It helped me slow down a little. Still isn't what I would normally listen to while running. And so I am already dying. I am breathing heavy, feeling it in my legs. And I get to about the halfway point where I would normally stop and take a walking break. And I really thought about doing it today. But then the next song is I by Kendrick Lamar, and something changed here. I felt a palpable shift. I was feeling inspired. As soon as I heard Kendrick say, I done been through a whole lot, trials and tribulations, but I know God, I knew I had to keep going. Because me and the single version of we've been through a whole lot. That song's gotten me through a lot, and I knew this song was gonna get me through this too. So I didn't stop. I kept on running, even though I was tired. So I'm pressing forward, but I am definitely feeling it. Next song is Cheerleader by Porter Robinson, which I have been listening to this song a lot. And finally, I finished the run out with Dumbest Girl Alive by 100 Gex. Of course, just one of the most epic intros, really hard-hitting song. So finishing this up, I felt really tired. I felt like I definitely went a lot slower than I did the other day. I'm just proud that I ran through the whole thing and didn't stop to walk, but I definitely went a lot slower. But then I look at Strava and I did a distance of 2.1 miles, a pace of 7:32, and a time of 16:34, which means not only did I not go a lot slower, I actually beat my previous best time by 13 seconds, which is crazy because that is not what that run felt like at all. So I continue to walk through the city. Running playlist is still on. I'm hearing a lot of older songs I really like but haven't heard in a while. Also that Big Dog song. But then it's time to run back. So I start running back at Alter Ego by Doechii, and looking at the running playlist ahead, I'm already feeling really tired. I've been dreading this run back. So I set the goal for myself. I at least want to get back before I have to hear the Lizzo song. So as I start this run back, I am feeling it more than ever. I am breathing so heavy, and I am really feeling it in my calves. My calves are burning, but the music's pretty good. Brockhampton Boogie, I like. Cat by William Crooks is a really odd pick for a running song. There is a runner in the album part, but the beat is so spacey, and there are so many funny one-liners in this that it's very distracting, which could go either way. It could distract me from the pain, or it can distract me from doing what I gotta do, which is push ahead. But then we get more Kendrick Lamar, which is great. We got Chapel Roan here, but I am absolutely dying. I'm getting closer to the finish, and I decided I'm going to press through. I'm not going to stop to walk, but I am definitely slowing down my pace a lot. So this is probably going to be my slowest time yet, but at least I kept somewhat of a running pace the whole time. But finally, I get to my finish line, and the song that's playing as I stop running is King's Dead by J-Rock, which means I didn't hear the Lizzo song. I actually did a lot better than what I thought I was going to do. So I pull up Strava, and I did a distance of 2.2 miles, a pace of 8:30, and a time of 18 minutes and 45 seconds, which means even though I felt like I was going so much slower, this was only 3 seconds slower than my previous slowest time. And that is absolutely insane to me because I felt really good after the other day, but today I was out of breath, super tired, super hot. So what does this mean in terms of the playlist? Because overall, I did have a worse experience feeling-wise on this run. Like, the music wasn't what I would normally listen to. A few of the songs I felt like I was actively fighting and were putting me at a disadvantage. But thinking about it, it could be that this run was just always going to be harder because it's only my second time running 2.2 miles without stopping. So what could have been is this run was always going to be more painful, but this music inspired me to push through the pain. Because again, when I by Kendrick Lamar came on, that was a crucial turning point in this whole run. So that might mean that this playlist was better at making me run and did help me go faster. But I'm not gonna make a final verdict yet because we still have more Spotify playlists to test out. So I'll give this one a 7 out of 10 and we'll see if this is true. We'll see if Spotify is actually helping me out here. Alright, run number 3. Today I did the hype running mix. Was getting hyped today. And first of all, this was the hottest day I have run. It was pretty bad outside. So we started off with Not Like Us. Of course, I love that song, but for this run, like starting it off, it wasn't exactly the tempo I wanted, and it is a lot longer than the average song, so I have to like live with it a lot more. And like starting off the run, I had to listen to that entire song where I would usually hear 2 songs right at the top of the run. We got that Doechii song again, which we heard before. It's fine, and I'm starting to realize at this point that we're hearing a lot of songs that we heard on the last running mix. In fact, everything from this leg of the run was on the previous day's playlist. It may be just in different points, but the only one that stuck out was Bad Boys 2, which pretty good Chance the Rapper song. I was impressed. I hadn't heard it. So I'm running along, I'm listening to these songs I heard yesterday, and I am just absolutely dying. The heat is borderline unbearable, and I'm really feeling this one in my thighs. My quads are burning today, and I am certain that this is the slowest I've gone yet. I just mentally accept that. This is just gonna be an off day. But then I stop, I look at Strava, and I did a distance of 2.18 miles at a pace of 7:32 and a time of 16:27, which means I actually did set my PR again. I wasn't really any slower, even though I felt like I was going so much slower. So maybe these songs are on to something. I start running back at King's Dead. Pretty fun song. I hear King Kunta bringing back the vibes of Here and I. Not quite the same, but you know, same album, close enough. Green Honda, great banger. It's helping me push through, even though I am still dying. I'm still exhausted this whole time. We get to What's Up Danger from the Spider-Man soundtrack. We got a pre-country Shabuzi on here, and this song's great in the context of the movie. I wasn't really feeling it just as a song running to it, but then we get Yeah Glow by Glorilla. I've never actually listened to this song on Spotify before, but I have heard it before. It is a fun song that helps me finish out this run. As I'm finishing up, Bonfire by Childish Gambino is playing, which is an odd choice. Like, I'm not that into this era of Gambino. So once again, I am sweating, I'm dying, my legs hurt. I have accepted this is gonna be my slowest run yet, but when I look at Strava, it's not. Yay! I did a distance of 2.2 miles, a pace of 8:25, and a time of 18 minutes and 45 seconds. So it actually is still my best time from this leg of the run. So once again, maybe Spotify is onto something with these playlists, because I'm hitting better and better times despite the odds. I do wish this playlist wasn't as similar to the one from yesterday. I don't quite get what differentiates the hype mix from just the normal mix when most of the songs are pretty similar, but also I can't argue with the results. I really thought I was dying out there. I really thought I was crashing out, but I pushed through. And maybe Spotify is the reason. Maybe they know more about what I need than I do. I think I'll give this mix a 6 out of 10 just for enjoyability, but again, if Spotify continues to get me results, I might have to up that score. Run number 4 today was the summer run mix, which is perfect because it is still summer. Summer just about to close, but I'm sneaking this in just in time. Now going into this run, I'm feeling pretty good. When I woke up today, felt like I had a new muscle on the inside of my calves. I felt so much stronger over here. I could be doing this all day. I'm ready. I'm down for a challenge. Put me in, coach. But when I start this playlist, it's just immediately the same stuff we've been hearing. And not just like it's some of the same songs, but we start the playlist off with Not Like Us again, which I could get the motivation because I have listened to that song a lot, but twice, 2 separate running playlists. It's so once again, I'm running along to that. We get Dumbest Girl Alive by 100 gecs. Again, I love that song, but it showed up on these playlists before. Bonfire by Childish Gambino again, which I'm not even that into that song. Von Dutch by Charlie XCX though, that gets me out of the slump. If there's one thing a summer mix needs, it's a Brat Summer song, and Von Dutch is that song. So as I'm running in that heat, I just channel my inner brat, and I keep pushing forward. And we close out with Part 2 by Kanye West. And low-key, I think this is a very underrated Kanye song, but I'm pretty sure the only reason this song is on this playlist is I listened to The Life of Pablo in full just the other day. But doing this run, last run, my thighs were really hurting. This time around, it's my calves. My calves are just absolutely birdied. Once again, I'm preparing myself to not beat my time, but when I pull up Strava, did a distance of 2.21, a pace of 7:25, and a time of 16:26. So this is my personal best, and I'm feeling great, but I lost 0.01 miles on my distance, and I don't know how that happened. Like, I feel like I'm using the same markers to determine where I start and end on the run here and back, but I consistently have 0.01 more miles on the run back, and it looks like I've lost 0.01 on this. So even though this is my personal best, I almost feel like I didn't quite earn it, even though my pace is still faster. Like, I need to do 2.2. So I start running back right as the beat is switching on Kendrick's D&A. Great song. I think the running mixes just really like Kendrick. I feel like that's an artist I listen to a lot that has some of the stuff that they could classify as running music. What's Up Danger? Again. Devil Is a Lie? Again. Guess by Charlie XCX, which, again, like all these songs are basically the same, but I do appreciate that the summer mix has more Charlie on it. They're at least in on Brat Summer. Spotify is in on that. So I've been running this trail for a while now. I'm used to it. The heat isn't as bad as before, but once again, my calves are absolutely killing me. And again, I'm preparing myself that maybe this time will be the time that I run slow. But you know, over and over again, Spotify hasn't failed me yet. But then Spotify recommends me a Cody Ko song, which is so odd because I don't listen to Cody Ko, and he's not a lot of people are right now. Like that just really stood out to me. Like hearing Cody Ko in my headphones in August 2024. But I pushed past that. I hear some more songs you've already heard. And when I pull up Strava, I did a distance of 2.23 miles, a pace of 9:07, and a time of 20 minutes and 20 seconds, which means I actually did run a lot slower this time. This is the first run in this whole series of listening to Spotify mixes that I have not gone faster than the day before. For the first time, maybe Spotify doesn't actually know what it's doing. In fact, this is my slowest time by well over a minute. So this isn't the biggest surprise because I was feeling pretty tired on this run. But again, on all the other runs, I felt like it was going to be my worst, and it ended up being my best. But I have now gotten to the point where I've gone slower than the day before. So is it Spotify's fault? Or is it not? I'll withhold judgment for right now because it could just be my calves. I might just need a day or two of rest, but the playlist was a little repetitive. I just heard a lot of songs that I've heard on the other running mixes. At least there was some Brat Summer in there, so I'll give this playlist like a tentative 7 out of 10. So now that we're approaching the halfway point, I started to get really curious what the actual science behind all this was. I'm hearing the same music over and over again. Is there a reason that it's these songs? Are these somehow supposed to be better for running? So I did some Googling and I found this article on triathlete.com. Science shows you could go further and faster with music. So this article says that listening to music can help you run because music can boost mood, provide motivation, a lower rate of perceived exertion, help with pacing, improved heart rate recovery, and improved physical performance. All makes sense to me, except for this lower rate of perceived exertion. I feel like up to this point, I have perceived way more exertion. Like I am feeling more and more tired after each run. But what this article seems to focus on the most, what seems to be proven the most, is music just helps you run purely because it puts you in a better mood. Yeah, listening to music you like triggers the feel-good chemicals, serotonin, dopamine. It boosts mood, it dulls pain, it fights fatigue, and that's what helps you run faster. So on this side of the spectrum, it could be entirely subjective. Just whatever you enjoy the most, whatever you respond to the most, makes you feel the best, is gonna help you run the best. Music could also lower your blood lactate concentration by 8%, which I have no idea what that is. I didn't know my blood lactated. But there is this whole other end of the spectrum where some researchers think that the BPM of the music can affect your running. It talks about this one study where it showed that athletes running to music with a tempo 10% higher than their preferred cadence led to significant changes in stride frequency over a 6-week period. Which that's interesting because I don't know the average BPM of my normal music. And maybe the music on these running playlists are a little faster. And I also don't know the average BPM of the songs on these running playlists. Like maybe Spotify is just dumping music on these playlists, but maybe they're being a little more meticulous about it. Maybe they're finding songs with the ideal running BPM and that's what's on their playlists. This study right here claims that the best BPM for running is a tempo between 123 and 131 BPM. And the thing I immediately think about with that is if the BPM is all that helps you run, just your body kind of naturally syncing along to whatever the tempo is, like that seems to be very different from music that's like motivational and active and energetic versus like low-key music, because you can have some really calm sounding 123 BPM songs. Like I mentioned some of the songs I love running to earlier. This Montel Fish song, it's only 3 BPM off the ideal range, so that's actually really close. And my favorite song off the Country Post Malone album, it fits right in that range. Heaven by Toro y Moi, that's 140 BPM. That's actually way faster than what you're supposed to run to, which I would not know by just listening to it. Now there is this caveat up here where it says that listening to fast tempo music provides stronger performance, but there's greater benefit with low to moderate intensity workouts, and it starts to taper off when you get into high intensity. So I don't know if I'm operating high intensity or not. I guess there's a chance that once you start running really good, the music like has a pretty nominal effect either way. And finally, it says music can be effective for recovery because of the blood lactate. I have no idea what that is. And finally, at the bottom, it has seen fit to create its own running playlist of 123 to 131 BPM songs. We got Juice by Lizzo, Living on a Prayer, White Stripes, Guns N' Roses, Offspring. Yeah, I don't want to run to this. I would rather listen to my own music, so let's get back and see how the Spotify playlists are doing. Oh my God. Run number 5 today was the pump up running mix, and oh my God, it's just more of the same stuff. Like, it's not even worth talking about the songs at this point, because for the first time since I started doing this, every single song on this playlist is one that has already been on another playlist. Like, it's literally all stuff that we've heard before. And I'm just perplexed like why it's even giving me some of this stuff, because some of these songs I listen to, but a lot of these I don't. Like, I'm not that in to Bonfire by Childish Gambino, and that's not even a new song, so I don't know why it keeps on feeding it to me. These 2 Glorilla songs, I kind of like them, but I've never listened to them on Spotify. And then the songs I do listen to, like Dumbest Girl Alive, Not Like Us, I like those songs, but I like that I have control over not overplaying them, whereas where I'm getting fed them, I could start to get tired of them. But moving on to the run, I actually did enjoy hearing Not Like Us this time. It's a much better song, like over halfway through your run instead of starting out with it. Today I had rested up for 2 days, so I was feeling fresh, I was feeling great. This is also the coolest day I have run because it was cloudy and it's starting to get dark a little earlier, so I was pushing right up into sunset. So there was not a lot of heat, there was not a lot of pain in my legs, so I kept it pushing. Run number 1 did a distance of 2.21 miles, a pace of 7:32, and a time of 16:44, which is pretty good, but this is the first time I have not set a personal best. My personal best is still 16:26 from the last one, so I was 18 seconds slower. And considering how good I was feeling, it almost feels like I have to attribute this to the music not being great, because every other variable was very much working in my favor. Now my run back, it was just more of the same. I did a distance of 2.23, at a pace of 8:43 and a time of 19 minutes and 27 seconds. So unlike last time, this wasn't my slowest time, but I used to be averaging around 18:45, so this is still considerably slower than what I was doing. So at this point, the Spotify running playlists are really failing me. Like, I should have done great on this run. I don't know what else it could be, because I was feeling great, I had some rest, but not too many days of rest. The temperature was breezy. It was great. There wasn't too much foot traffic on the trails. The music was the only thing about today that was a letdown. So I don't even care if it's science at this point. I don't even care if like these are supposed to be the perfect songs to run to. They aren't cutting it for me. Tired of hearing them every time I run. And this is something Spotify is gonna have to fix if they want their running playlist to be the go-to playlist for runners. Because it's not even like I'm using the same playlist. I've clicked on 4 different playlists at this point, and it's still the same stuff. So this playlist, 3 out of 10, tired of hearing all this stuff. I don't feel pumped up. I don't know why this is the pump up playlist when it's identical to all the other running playlists. At this point, I can't wait to just listen to my own music. I have 2 left. I'm curious to see if the fun running mix is anything different. The EDM mix, like, has to be different. Most of these songs aren't EDM, so I'm at least holding out for that one. All right, run number 5 just finished up, and honestly, didn't go great. And I don't know, I woke up like not feeling my top, like my best, just going throughout the day. But when it came time to run, I especially wasn't feeling it. And you could chop that up to me just feeling a little off throughout the whole day. But what didn't help, what did not help, was the playlist. You see, today was the fun running mix, and spoiler alert, it was not fun at all. I did not have fun. I did not have a good time. And you wanna know why? I'ma tell you why. I didn't have fun because during this first run, every single song was a song that had appeared on a playlist before. That's right, it's not even worth talking about these. All the usual suspects are there. And again, I like some of these songs, but some of these songs I don't listen to. And I'm tired of listening to them. So I just found it so hard to put one foot in front of the other over and over again, listening to what I've been listening to for a while. Like I miss my normal music so much. And since this whole experiment is testing out Spotify's running playlist, this is an issue that really has to get fixed. Because the thing is, now that I'm listening to these playlists, like these songs are starting to appear in other Spotify generated playlists. Like when I'm in the car and I don't have time to search for music, I usually default to the Daily Drive playlist because I find that it's the best at just feeding you the songs that you listen to over and over again in a pretty nice order. But over the past 2 days, when I put the driving playlist on, some of these songs from the running playlist are starting to appear in my Daily Drive playlist, and I don't want them there. And I even intentionally tried to influence the running playlist. Like I noticed I listened to Life of Pablo, and then a Life of Pablo song turned up on one of these. And so I intentionally was like, I'm gonna listen to some high energy music. So I listened to a lot of Baby Keem. I listened to a lot of Playboi Carti, intentionally trying to get at least one of those songs in the running playlist, and it did not work. So I finished the song up as that Fred Again song was playing. It was starting to grow on me, but now it's starting to ungrow on me. I'm starting to dread hearing it. I look at Strava, did a distance of 2.21, a pace of 7:52, and a time of 17 minutes and 27 seconds, which means this was, in fact, my worst time on the first run. In previous times, I thought I was gonna go my slowest, and it turns out I went my fastest. But this time around, I could just kind of tell that this was gonna be my slowest. I was not having a good time. And I don't know why. Like there weren't any like external circumstances that should have made it a bad run. It wasn't a particularly hot day. My legs weren't particularly hurting or anything. I just felt generally sluggish and the music was not picking me up. So I walk around for a little bit. Every single song that plays during my walk was something I had heard before, including that freaking Cody Co's song. But I start running back during the middle of Von Dutch, which I'm hoping will pick me up because it is a banger. And I look ahead at the playlist, and finally there are 3 songs that haven't appeared on a playlist before. There's the Chapel Roan song, which honestly, I don't know if it really counts because other Chapel Roan has showed up. But then we have Girls, which is another song I've only heard on TikTok, never heard the whole thing. And a bar song by Shabuzi, which I actually was listening to Shabuzi's album yesterday. So it makes sense why that's on here, but I'm finally starting to put the pieces together on how music is ending up on the running playlist. These running playlists seem to be where they try to just put in the most popular songs, like the most proven top 40 stuff, just however that can combine with your normal music taste. Because Glorilla, Big Dogs, Girls. Those are all big TikTok hits that have done big numbers. Chapel Roan, I don't listen to a lot, but she's like the biggest thing. Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. It's probably the most popular rap song right now. I listen to that a lot, they're putting that there. Charlie XCX, she's having a big moment. I listen to Charlie, that's gonna end up on here. But songs that would really fit my music taste, that would be very good for running, even like traditionally running workout type music, like those aren't ending up on here. They're just trying to put in the biggest pop hits that are proven to be successful. And that's really disappointing because my experience with some other Spotify automated playlists is they tend to pull out some really cool suggestions. Now also, as I'm running back, I do notice that Lizzo song is back on the playlist. So once again, I'm like, I know I don't feel great, but if I could at least get to the finish line before that Lizzo song plays, that would be great. And it turns out I didn't do that. In fact, I not only heard the Lizzo song, I heard the Baby No Money song, where he calls himself the Gen Z Eminem, and I even get a little bit of this Novocaine song, which I did like when it first came out. I had not listened to it in forever, and it's such a weird pick for this playlist, given what else is on it. But I finish, and once again, during this entire run, I'm not feeling any better. Like, I do feel really slow. I do feel like I'm not at my A game. So I pull up Strava, I did a distance of 2.26, a pace of 840, and a time of 1936. So turns out I didn't do my worst. This is my second slowest for the run back. But what's really odd about this is it says I did a distance of 2.26 miles, which is like 0.3 miles more than I usually do, which again, it makes no sense to me because I did start and stop at the exact same 2 points that I always start and stop at. I have very specific landmarks. So either it's like a thing with the GPS, or something that did happen on this run is there were a lot of people on the trail that I had to pass, you know, just those annoying people that take up over half of the road, or those cyclists that just zoom by, which also doing this whole running thing, I've just developed a new hatred to cyclists. Like, what are you even doing, okay? You need a machine to do what I'm just doing on my own 2 feet, and yet you just like zoom past like you're better than me? No, I'm better than you. I don't need 2 wheels to do this little trail. You aren't a goddamn child. Get off your bike and run like an adult. This trail is for real athletes, or people that leisurely walk. I don't have as much beef with the slow walkers, because walkers, they know what they're doing. They know they're being slow. They know they aren't breaking a sweat, but bikers think they're actually exercising, and they're not. It's not exercise if you don't feel pain, if you don't feel an utter hatred for life itself, you don't long to ascend to another temporal plane, to escape the aching cage that is this human meat suit we call a body, then you aren't exercising. But overall, 2 out of 10 playlist. I'm fed up with the running playlist at this point, and it didn't help. Maybe I already wasn't going to run great, but I could say 100% the music did not help me at all. If I could have just listened to something else, I think I could have at least been in a better mood while I was being slow. But luckily, I only have one Spotify running playlist left, and it is the EDM running mix. And so I am hoping, I am praying to God that since it's an EDM mix, and there's not a lot of EDM that showed up on these playlists, it should theoretically be a bunch of new music. So as difficult as this run was, I do have that to look forward to. I am looking forward to there hopefully being some new music. Turns out I was wrong. I just finished run number 6, the running EDM mix, and I went into it thinking, surely there would be some different songs this time. Because out of all the songs in the previous playlist, there are only like 2 EDM songs. Those might make an appearance, but Turns out the entire first leg of this run, I was listening back to back to songs that had appeared on all the other playlists. Look at them, like literally all the usual suspects. Again, I don't mind starting off with Charlie. I like that song. Jamie XCX, cool. Love the Porter Robinson. I don't want to listen to the Baby No Money song where he calls himself Gen Z Eminem. And honestly, it made me a little mad just having to run and listen to that without skipping. But as far as the run itself goes, I actually was feeling a lot better this time around. And I could feel that this wasn't going to be my slowest run. I might go back to setting a personal record. And after 5 songs, I managed to swoop into the finish line right on time before I had to listen to that Cody Ko song again. And looking at Strava, did a distance of 2.2, a pace of 7:30, and a time of 16 minutes and 34 seconds. So that is my second fastest time doing the 2-mile run. So it's not my fastest, but I'm back on track to improving and being faster. It's a huge improvement from yesterday. And honestly, like as soon as I started this run, I did feel like I was going to do better. And honestly, like the EDM music, while it is stuff that appeared on previous playlists, like it flowed nicely. There was a nice energy to it. And as I'm walking, I'm starting to hear a few songs that haven't showed up on a playlist before. And it's like, oh wow, what is this? New music. Then I started my run back, and I'm excited to say that only one song I listened to on this run had showed up before, and it was a Charlie XCX song, so I didn't even mind. And now I'm actually feeling great. I'm actually really feeling in the zone now. It's so nice to listen to something else other than the same songs I've been hearing over and over again. And just like with the last playlist, the EDM vibe, it does lend to running. We started off with that Frost Children song featuring Danny Brown. Loved that. We had that Fred Again song Lil Yachty was on, another Jamie XCX, Justice and Tame Impala, and I swooped into the finish line right as this Muramasa song was playing. And honestly, like that is a really solid playlist. And it's almost the perfect thing for running because those are all musicians I know I like, but I don't necessarily listen to them a lot. Like I wouldn't know every song of theirs. So it's nice having something upbeat that I haven't heard before, that I get to experience for the first time, that kind of takes your mind off the pain of running. Like this second run is the one where I'm usually more tired, but I was feeling way more refreshed this time around than I have in the last few runs. So I was feeling really good, and the music actually seemed to be helping. So I pull up Strava, did a distance of 2.23, pace of 8:35, and a time of 19 minutes and 11 seconds. So this is far from my worst one. I'll have to look through all this again to make sure, but I think it's my third fastest for my number 2 runs. But also regardless of that, like I just had so much more energy during this run. Like there were some times where there were some very slow walkers, and they're the type of annoying walkers that take up like over half of the road, and I had to like pass them a lot. And like as I like sped up to pass them, I found that I just had a lot more energy to like have a sudden burst of speed. And I did that a few times, even when I didn't have to pass them. And I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna go a little faster this time. And I went pew! And I didn't set a personal record, but I did really solid. It feels like I'm back on track. So this Spotify playlist, the EDM running mix, it gets a solid 8 out of 10 for me. Of course, like I wish that the top of the playlist wasn't what was on all the other playlists. It was maybe like some more traditionally EDM music, but as the playlist progressed, they did manage to put in a lot of EDM that would be up my alley, but was stuff I hadn't heard before, which is exactly what I want out of an automated playlist. So those are all the Spotify running playlists, but now that I've been running a bit more consistently, I'm gonna do one more run where I'm listening to my normal music again. We'll see if it makes a difference. just finished run number 8, the final one, and I am back listening to my own music, which, thank God, I was ready for that. Now, throughout this experiment, we've seen a lot of highs and lows, but on average, I have gotten faster. So the reason I'm doing another run is to see how I do with my normal playlist again. And this should help us determine if I was just getting faster because I was running a little more consistently, or if the Spotify playlists were actually making a difference. Now, going into this run, I was feeling pretty average. I wasn't dreading it, but I also wasn't like super hyped for it either. The weather was also a pretty solid medium too. It wasn't super hot, but it also wasn't cloudy like the past 2 days have been. So I start running, I immediately am listening to Dave Blunt's, and I'm already in a great mood. Like, it's great to have some nice upbeat music that you could also like laugh to a little. And I just instantly, I have a lot more pep in my step now. I feel like I just aged down 5 years. Like, I just instantly have a lot more energy. I'm running around, I'm enjoying myself, Two Hollis comes on, and I just can't believe how much more energy I have. Like, I'm smiling, running, looking around. I see a local rapper recording a hanging mic video. I hear that Beyonce country song with Dolly Parton. We get to this medium build song, which is one of those songs that wouldn't be traditional running music, but I vibed with it. I listened to the whole thing. He talks about like running a race or something in the song, so it's oddly fitting. And I'm well over halfway, and I just feel that I'm going fast, that I'm gonna do really good, which is the first time I've felt that since we started this. I always feel like I'm going slow and then I'm surprised, but I'm sure that I'm doing great. We end with a Post Malone country song, the M-I-X-I-C-O for me. Then I look at my Strava. I did a distance of 2.2 miles, a pace of 7:17, and a time of 16 minutes and 12 seconds. So this is my fastest 2-mile run. Not only did I set a PR, but I beat my previous record by 14 seconds, which might be my biggest jump. Like, I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's the biggest increase from one PR to another. And I'm just in such a good mood. Like, it's so great to hear the stuff I want to hear. But then I'm walking around and my calves start to ache, and this could be trouble. I could be sensing a tough run back. But then one of those James Blake Lil Yachty songs plays, and it starts to calm me down. I start to like catch my breath a little and get into a nice restful state. That continues with an Omar Apollo song, and then all of a sudden my calves aren't that bad. Like, I've actually cooled off a good bit, which I think was something I was missing from those running playlists where I was just listening to hype, 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 hype over and over again. So on the run back, we start off with my favorite running song, which is Runner by Chief Keef, which, despite the obvious of having runner in the title, I think it's probably my favorite beat of the year. That's got me in a great mood. We got that Lana Del Rey Quavo song, which I love. Then we get Sexy to Someone by Clairo, which, again, this is one of those songs that would never end up in a running playlist, but something about just how bright and upbeat it is. Like, it had me in a good mood. And as I'm running back, I start to notice I don't feel like I'm out of energy. Like, not only could I feel like I'm going fast, I don't feel like I'm pushing myself at all. Like, for the first time, I just feel like I'm naturally going quick. Then the opposite of the Clairo song, we got JPEG Mafia, and when this comes on, I am really booking it forward. Like, listening to this song, I don't know if this makes sense, but it feels like I'm like curb stomping the curb. Like, like if the road is a person, I'm just going like, brr, 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 brr. And again, I feel like I'm in a better mood just explaining it now, but I feel like this is gonna be my best time, and I'm gonna be crushed if I'm wrong. But finally, another Two Hollis song comes up, and I get to the finish line. And looking at my Strava time for this second control run, I did a distance of 2.24 miles, a pace of 7:51, and a time of 1738. 1738! Hey. Not only is it the Fetty Wap number, not only is this my best time for my run back, but this beats my previous best time by over a minute, which is crazy. This changes everything. And again, I felt like I was doing better the whole time. I'm usually, whether I have a decent time or not, I feel like I'm dying on this run back. And I never once even felt tired. Even though I'm doing the same distance that I've always done, on the same trail that I've always done, there's no other variable that's changed. The music is the only thing that's different. My previous best pace for this was 8:25, and this is 7:51. Like this is the biggest difference, the biggest jump in times that's happened. Like I didn't even think I was gonna do this. So I thought I knew how this video was going to go, but this completely throws a wrench in everything. This is not a good look for Spotify at all. So overall, I could definitely see what that article we talked about was saying, how the main benefit of listening to music while running is it just puts you in a better mood, and that helps you exercise better. Because after hearing the same songs over and over again that I didn't want to hear, it was so refreshing hearing songs that I genuinely liked front to back that I was excited to hear what was next, and it makes total sense that that led to my best time. But even then, I could not have predicted that I would do this much better. So did Spotify make me run faster? No, it didn't. In fact, it could be that Spotify actively made me run slower. But I'm not gonna completely diss Spotify. Like, it wasn't all bad. Like, I definitely heard a few songs that I wouldn't normally run to, and I had a pretty good time running to those. Especially some of the stuff on the EDM playlist. That honestly does have me wanting to listen to more music in that style while I run. Just maybe a little more tailored to specifically what I like. And I think it did push me outside of my comfort zone and give me a new challenge, which athletes all the time talk about the importance of that. But the Spotify running playlists are intrinsically flawed as they exist right now, in that there's very little variety. And unlike some other Spotify playlists, these are less concerned with tailoring the playlist to your personal music taste in favor of just putting in already popular songs, feeding you songs that are already hits, and just getting the biggest songs even more streams. But overall, this experience was really fun. I have been slowly getting back into running, but this really got me back being consistent for the first time in about a year. And going into this, I always knew that I would probably improve from my first run, no matter what the music was, just as a result of me being more consistent. But the huge jump from these previous times to this second time listening to my own music again, I think it is pretty clear that Spotify's running playlists do not make me run faster. But before I wrap up, turns out Spotify has one more trick up its sleeve. Because when I started this video, I just searched running and 5 playlists came up, and I screenshotted those playlists. And this whole experiment, I just kind of assumed those were all the running mixes, but I just searched running mix into Spotify, and there are actually a lot more running mixes. There are so many more. There's an angry running mix. There's a 170 BPM running mix. There's a running rock mix. There's an old school running mix. So maybe I haven't given Spotify a fair shake after all. So if you want to see me run to the rest of the playlist, subscribe to this channel. If this gets enough likes, I might do a sequel. Guys, thank you so much for watching. And before you click off, I just made a 5-minute horror film about a music YouTuber, which, if you think that sounds meta, not only is it about what I'm doing now, but I literally filmed it on this exact set. They always tell filmmakers to write what they know, and that's exactly what I've done. This is inspired by my favorite 80s horror films, but it's set in the modern day about a YouTuber that discovers a mysterious rare vinyl record that might be evil. It's called Evil Vinyl 1982. There's a link in the description, and it's under 5 minutes. So if you want a horror film about a music YouTuber shot on this set where the actor is wearing my Spinal Tap shirt, then check this out. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.